Hi, I'm Yegi. I'm an entrepreneur and success coach who wants it all: family, luxury, career, and the freedom to do whatever I want whenever I want. And I'll do whatever it takes to get there. I created the Yegi Project to document my journey and inspire others to do the same. My mission is to change the world by influencing and leading others to do what they love and live fulfilled lives. What's up, guys? Yegi here. Welcome back to the Yegi Project. We are interviewing a repeat guest today, and we found it super interesting and fun to interview her again because just like most of us and a lot of entrepreneurs, she had an epiphany to start a different business from the first time I interviewed her. So the first time and how I met her, she had started her lash business, but deep down, she also had this idea and this passion for the candle making business. However, she never took the jump on that calling until recently. So it'll be really fun to hear her side of the story because I know myself and a lot of entrepreneurs have gone through that. I want to do multiple things. How do I balance this? What do I do? And also the different business and marketing strategies for a different type of business. So what is really cool about this episode too is nowadays we talk a lot about online marketing, social media ads, Facebook, Google ads, but we don't talk too much about the old school vendor marketing. And that's what we're actually going to discuss with Ryah in this episode is the difference and the different things that she is doing to locally market to her customer base and what a big difference in her sales that it made. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode and on to it. Hello. Welcome back to the Yegi Project. Today we have Ryah J with us again. She has come back to tell us all about her new adventures and what's going on with her entrepreneurial life. So I'm so excited to connect with her again today because the last time we spoke, her main focus in business was eyelash extensions. And that's kind of how I met her because we had that same passion, but we both are also a lot of passion type of people. So we also had a lot of things we connected on of the things we wanted to do, the world we want to change to a better place and all that good stuff. But today she is focusing on her business, Herbs in Harlem, which is a candle company that she started and is running today. So we want to focus on that and see how that happened, how is that going, and anything she wants to share with us today.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I always love chatting it up with you, and it's so crazy that the last time we talked, I was talking like just about lashes. So, um during that time a lot has changed. It's funny because Herbs in Harlem kind of started when I started my healing journey. Um, After I had my son, I was just going through a lot postpartum and like everything with COVID. We were really stuck in the house for like his first year. And I just knew that I wanted to create something that could create generational wealth for my family. And I was meditating one day and I just thought it just came to me. I was like, oh my gosh, Herbs in Harlem. Me and my son spent a lot of time outside and we were trying to plant lavender. It didn't go so well, but he really enjoyed it. And so that's how Herbs in Harlem just like came about. I LLC'd it. I was like, I love this. And then I didn't do anything with it. I just kind of left it. I was really nervous. Um, because at the time, I think I had been in lash business for about like 4 years. And so I didn't know if I was ready to start another business. I'm really like comfortable. Once I like do something and I'm in my jam, I don't really like to switch things up too much. And so I was really nervous and I left it alone. I started like healing salts. And so I would put like essential oils in Himalayan salt jars and I would use them for my lash clients and they really liked them. And my husband came up to me and he was like, why don't you start making candles? And I'm like, I like, you should really try it. So last summer,
But did he know that you already had that like intuition to start a candle company, or he said it randomly
he
based
just
on
said
your
it
interests?
randomly. Yeah, he said it randomly. He knew that I had the name. I just I didn't have a product. Like, I didn't really know what I wanted to sell with Herbs in Harlem. I just knew that I really liked the name. And so he was like, just do it. Like, I love candles, first of all. Like, I buy candles all of the time. And so he's like, you should really make them. And we started doing research, and I started making them last summer, and I really like it. It's just a something I've discovered about myself since I turned 30. I really like to create things. Um, I like to create lash sets, anything that I get to envision and then bring to life. I really enjoy doing that.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
so,
honestly, creativity really feeds the human soul. So I think if more
mhm.
people can tap into their creativity, that's that can't be a negative thing. Like it's such a positive
Yes,
thing to feel
yes,
that creativity. So I could see how, you're getting so much satisfaction out of creating something.
yes. And then to know that people love something that you created, that is just the icing on the cake. I launched October 25th of last year. I was
Okay.
so scared. Um, I got a few sales, but it wasn't what I expected for my first launch. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know. Like, what if this doesn't go right? And I just made a really transparent post. On my Facebook, I posted, like, oh my gosh, I put in a lot of work for this holiday sale, and the launch didn't go as I expected. That's okay. I'm going to keep trying. And before you know it, orders were flying in so fast. I didn't even have the inventory to
Oh
like
my
fully like
goodness.
push out the orders that were coming in. It was like a crazy moment. So it gave me a boost of confidence. And um then in March is when I decided to start doing like the vendor markets, because I was just online and I was just really just like selling people that were in the shop and like that I knew. But March is when I started the vendor markets.
And that was this March, just a few months ago.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, that's like a whole other marketing. Of course, it puts in a lot of physical time and effort to go do like the in-person marketing. So, can we talk a little bit about that? What was the difference that you saw in your customers or your sales when you did the online marketing versus the in-person, very involved customer-facing marketing?
Huge difference. Um, the, it's interesting because before I even started entrepreneurship, sales was like really big for me. I did like call center sales, and then I sold mattresses in Chicago. And so I knew what in-person sales were like, but when you're talking about your own product, it's something that I can't even explain. Like, online, it's just kind of generic. Like, you have like a generic audience. Like, you don't really like you're just posting. Like, your stuff is just out there. But in person, you're connecting on like a more intimate level. And the beautiful thing about candles is it brings nostalgic memories. And so before you know it, my customers like telling me something really intimate about them, and it's a whole new experience. It's very nerve-wracking. I was like super nervous at my first market. Um, but once I started getting like the feedback, and they like the names of the candle, they like the smell, it just boosts a different confidence for me. And it's really a lot of fun getting to know my customers.
Yeah, I feel like, the hardest part is initially pushing yourself to go out there without knowing what to expect. Because, we all have fears and insecurities. Or what if, like, people don't respond? What if they
Yes.
think I'm crazy? And even public speaking, it doesn't come easy to people. You're
No.
literally have to do public speaking when you're selling, and then you have to put
Yes.
yourself out there. So I can see that initial challenge, but I do want our listeners to pay attention to that. Like, initially it's really hard to push yourself to do it, but once you force yourself, it does
Yes.
get better most of the time. It just acts as kind of a motivator and as that little push that we need to keep doing it. And
Hmm.
by doing it, did you notice like you got better and better and more comfortable in front of people?
So yes, I really like I really like public speaking. I really just like talking to people
You
in
also
general.
had a
So
background in your education in broadcasting, right?
yes, yes, I did. So this is like really, it's not something that's new to me. It's more something that it almost brought back things that I did in my childhood. Like I was in broadcast journalism. I used to be on the TV screens in the school, like doing commentaries. And so it wasn't anything new talking to people. What it was like talking about something I made, explaining it, and like you're so nervous if like people are going to receive it the way that you do. And so that's what was really scary for me. Like I love these candles, but what if they don't?
Yeah.
That's what I was like extremely terrified. But just knowing your product and like really standing by like what you make, because I do stand by being eco-friendly, it makes it easier to talk about something you really love.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree on that. Well, just for fun, why don't you do a little elevator speech for us so our listeners can see you in action? So tell us more about, like within 30 seconds to 1 minute, tell us more about
Ooh.
your, yeah, I'm gonna challenge you. So tell us more about your business as a whole, like the candle business and one specific candle as an example. Sell me.
Absolutely. So, Herbs in Harlem is named after my son, Quincy Harlem. We make 100% soy wax candles with clean fragrances and essential oils only. So, you don't have to worry about any toxins, carcinogens. You're just going to get a clean experience. I offer anything from woodsy scents to sweet scents to fruity scents to clean and earthy scents. We also offer wood wicks so that you get a full clean burn in your candle and you don't have to worry about any black smoke coming off your candle. You're just going to have a clean burn every single time.
Yay! I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for doing that. And I think it's so important to be ready to do that as an entrepreneur. So I wanted our listeners to kind of see you in action
Yes.
because everybody needs to have like their elevator speech ready to go if you are trying to be an entrepreneur. If you're trying to
Yes.
sell something, you
Yes.
need to be
I
ready. You don't
agree.
know when your customer is going to be in front of you.
No, and something I've learned about candles, especially along the way, I get the most random questions and I have to be on it. One of my scents is called oud, and one of the ingredients is smoked oud. And someone was like, "What is that?"
Yeah,
And
what is
because,
that?
so smoked oud is a resin from a tree. After a tree dies, it creates a fungus. And when that fungus, it creates a resin, and that's what oud is. And then
Huh.
in this case, it's just smoked. And so now that I have that knowledge, my customers are like, oh my gosh, that
That's
is
so
so
cool.
nice. And so just really like knowing your product and like knowing what you're selling, I think is like crucial. It makes you a little bit more comfortable. You have more confidence in talking about something. Really research what you're selling, because if not, like you'll hate to just stand there and someone's asking you something and you don't know how to answer it.
So I want to talk a little bit about changing gears, right? Because like we said, when we get comfortable or when something's working, a lot of times we get scared or it's hard to change gears. But you had to do
Hmm.
that once again now with the candle business because you had a calling for it and you just knew that this is the next thing you want to do. But how was that? How did that come about with your lash business and the candle business? What did you do? Did you kind of do both of them are you doing both of them at the same time? Did you take a like leap of faith? Like what's
Hmm.
your process with that major, change?
So, right now, I am currently the owner of two businesses. I am running my MILF Beauty. business with lashes, and I'm also running the candle business. Um, the scariest jump I have ever made, Yegi. I I have decided to, like, recently I've changed my schedule so I am a little bit more hands on with herbs in Harlem than more than I am Milk Beauty. Milk Beauty kind of is right on kind of an autopilot right now. I still have like my remaining clients. They would absolutely kill me if I just shut down shop. So so I still have my clients. They still book monthly. I just worked it out to where my schedule, I'm off like on the weekends and we work our schedule out accordingly as far as lashes. Some days I I don't know how I do it. I know a lot of people ask, like, how do you do that? Because I do also have two toddlers, so my life is really busy right now. Um, but I have to say the biggest thing for me right now is discipline. That's like the word of the year right now is discipline.
Yeah.
Staying disciplined, yeah.
So, how would you say, what are your best tips and tricks to be disciplined in order to balance all of that? Because you're balancing two businesses
Mhm.
and your family life. And I know with two toddlers, it is not easy. um, and you still look fabulous.
Thank
you
you.
don't look like you don't look like you're, haven't taken a breath. So how do you do all of that to make sure you're giving enough time and energy to the things that are important in your life?
Um, so ways that I like to stay disciplined, really just having a schedule and sticking to it. My schedule is very like from 10 to 12 I'm doing lashes, and then from 12 to 1 I have to run here. It's very detailed and just sticking to it. There's a lot of days where I will lash from 10 to 6, come home, make dinner, get the kids off to bed, and then start candle making until about midnight, sometimes 3 o'clock in the morning before vendor events. um the first couple of, I would say, like, this is our first year in business, so for the first year it's grind time,
It
and just
really is.
really being strict with your time.
So just planning, scheduling, and being hard on yourself to stick to it.
Yes, yes, and then taking my rest days. Taking my rest days for rest days. And a rest day for me really looks like laying around, looking a mess, playing Sims, taking care of my kids all day. And that's it. Not running errands, not doing absolutely anything, because I think those days are still important, especially for entrepreneurs. Like, a lot of times we
It
find ourselves
really
working a
is.
lot.
It really is. It is just you need to take that time to kind of reset because when we're
Hmm.
overworked and overtired, even if we spend 10 extra hours working, we're not going to be productive. If we're
No,
actually
burnout will
rested,
happen.
yes, it does happen. And I think a lot of people learn that the hard way. Sometimes we could be more productive in 2 hours compared to like
Yes,
unrested 10 hours. So take
yes,
time for yourselves, guys.
absolutely.
So let's talk about the vendor events because a lot of our listeners are also entrepreneurs or people who are trying to better themselves for personal development to live like better, happier lives. So as far as starting somewhere to go physically market your product, because nowadays a lot of things are driven more as online and virtual, and people do all the Google ads, Facebook ads, and that's kind of like the main trend that we are doing. We're like the
Hmm.
younger generations were kind of not going physically out there and we're even more shy to look for those options. For our listeners who are willing to give some of those techniques a try, what advice would you give them? Like, where do they start to find vendor events, like physical stores, local
Hmm.
shops? Where What advice would you give them to do that?
So I would definitely recommend looking around in like your local areas. If there's an event going on in your local area, more than likely they're looking for vendors. Um, so I like to look around at like my local cities. I was able to link up with a um she's a like vendor event thrower. So she gets all the makers together. She goes like and schedules the events out. And so I do a lot of strawberry swing events. and she's been a huge blessing to Herbs in Harlem. Um, I linked up with her and I do every single event that she throws. So that
Wow.
way I'm able to get Herbs in Harlem out there. I'm able to speak with a lot of like returning customers that I've seen before, that will walk up to my table like, oh my gosh, I purchased a candle from you and it's amazing. Um, we did so well. So we started vendors with her in March. It is now August, and we have hit our 12K mark in revenue. Things have been moving
Oh, yay!
so fast for us that she even offered a spot for us in her local maker store in the heart of Kansas City. So we are now in Shop Local Kansas City, or excuse me, Shop Local KC in Crown Center. So yeah, we work really hard.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Networking at these events is super important. Talking to your neighbors. I talk to my vendor neighbors a lot to see what type of events are coming up and what events are really good to be at. But yes, networking and getting into all of these different events is really going to help boost your business, and people in the area will get to know you outside of just your family and friends. So yeah, I would definitely recommend like looking in like your local newspapers, looking online through Facebook is super helpful. Like if you go to the events tab and it'll show you like the local events, they are looking for vendors. So even if you have to like search and search for their email, I have personally reached out to people like, hi, I see that you have an event going on. I want to be a part of this. And so yeah, like really just putting yourself out there.
Wow. Awesome. Thank you for that. The other question that comes up, I'm sure people are going to be wondering, okay, so how about cost? Like how costly is it to go to these events? Because to be, an exhibitor at some of the events could be
Mhm.
very costly, but I can see like the more local ones might be more affordable. Can you share a little bit of your experience with that and the return that you saw from investing in events?
Absolutely. So, I I've definitely learned a lot throughout this journey because it is our first year. So we are getting to know like what events are really good for us, what events that maybe we don't need to do next year. Um, Vendor events can be costly. I say be very strategic in how you move when it comes to vendor events. So a lot of times I won't schedule like vendor events weekend to weekend. So because most of the time we almost sell out when we do a weekend. So if I
Yay!
know
What a
that
good problem to have.
I know that if we sell out that weekend, I'm not going to book a vendor event that next weekend because it wouldn't give me enough time to be able to make product and get it out in enough time. So I will typically give myself like a week break because some vendor events can range anywhere from 75 to like $350. So it can be very costly. However, because we almost sell out at these events, we usually make our booth fee back. So yeah, just be very strategic. Really research what event that you're going to attend to make sure that your product is going to do well at that event.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that. Now let's go back to Herbs and Harlem because I'm very interested in your specific product. So we talked about all the unique features you offer. I want to dive a little bit more in depth because I also love candles, and I think, like you said, each scent can bring a different memory or a different experience depending on maybe the first time you smelled it or what it reminds you of in your life or in your childhood. Can you talk a little bit about what specifically sets your candles apart compared to any other candle? Why should I just come and buy a candle from you compared to just going to a different store?
Yes, great question. First and foremost, we are eco-friendly. I feel like candles, they smell so good that sometimes we can stray away from still being sustainable for the environment. So that's still really important to me. I love I love the earth. So I'm really about just being
Oh,
eco-friendly. Also, with Herbs in Harlem, what's going to be a little different here is our scents. So we don't really have the usual scents that you'll smell from other companies. I don't like to copy scents. I like to be original. And a compliment that I got quite a few times from some of these events that we go to is, wow, I have never smelled anything like this before.
Wow.
That is a huge compliment to me because I do have a lot of original scents. I hand mix anywhere from 3 to 5 different fragrances. So it creates a unique scent. And sometimes it might be a fragrance that's pulling a nostalgic memory for someone. So it's like, oh my gosh, like I feel like I've smelt this somewhere, but at the same time, I've never smelt it anywhere before. And that I would have to say is what makes Herbs in Harlem stand out.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much. Honestly, I'm a big scent person. Like if I smell something that I really like, it just puts me in such a good mood.
Yes.
Like I've done that for a long time as like aromatherapy and like candles. Amazing. Like so those of you who've never experienced with smelling different things to see how it makes you feel, I highly
Yes.
encourage you to do it. Like anything. It can like weirdly enough, I have the most weirdest thing that just brings me joy. So dish soap, orange
Mm.
scented dish soap. For
Mm.
some reason, if I smell that, it just puts me in such a good mood. So sometimes when
Such
I'm
a
in
good
a bad
mood.
mood, I'll go and
I
I'll
love
smell
that so much.
good. So
That's what I love the most about candle making is I get to mixing different scents and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm happy all of the time. Like the whole time I'm making candles, I'm super happy. And I didn't realize, like, oh my gosh, this is like aromatherapy. I'm really like, you're triggering different scent profiles. And one of my customers came up to me and he said, he was like smelling my candles and he closed his eyes and he said, the best way to smell a candle is by closing your eyes.
huh.
And ever since then, I love it. The whole experience from making it to burning it to letting like customers get a different experience from each candle. It's truly a blessing.
Awesome. Okay, so I have a fun question for you. So
Hmm.
what's a smell that you absolutely can't stand? We talked about all the amazing scents, but what's a smell that you absolutely can't stand?
um, Straight off the bat, dragon's blood. I have tried so hard to make a scent out of dragon's blood, and it is such a like a potent scent that I had to throw it away. Like I told my
It
husband,
doesn't
throw it away. I cannot do it. I would have to say that's probably hands down
work.
one of
Not
the
in your
worst scents.
formula.
Yeah, not at all.
All right, so here's another one. What is a misconception about candle making business that you have heard, but you're like, oh no, that's not true. Now that you're in it.
Oh wow. Oh, I have two.
Okay.
So one of them is that they're easy to make. Like people think that candles are so easy. I mean, if you think about it, I thought they were easy. I thought you just throw some wax and some fragrance together and call it a day. But there's really a lot of science and math behind it. Um,
Really?
yes, like there I have a full formula and like wow, there was a lot of math involved that I was not ready for. So
I
I would
didn't
have
know
to say
that.
that. Another misconception is that it is cheap to start. Wow. Wow. One thing I have to say is I have to give it up for MILF Beauty because she really funded a lot of Herbs in Harlem. Wow, it is a very expensive business to start.
Oh,
Um,
is it?
yes, it is. I would have to say my startup costs were close. I would have to say somewhere around 5K and up. It's very expensive to get started, but the best advice if you really want a candle business, just start it. Go with it. Don't give up, like keep going. And it'll come together. But I would have to say those two for sure.
Okay, awesome. So, what I always love asking this question because, this is what holds a lot of people back, and it's nice to learn from the people who've already done it. For somebody who wants to start a candle business, can you share your biggest failure or biggest learning lesson through the candle making business journey that you were on so far? It's
That's
still
a great
fairly new,
question.
so far.
Yeah. I still have a couple of, that's a great question, Yegi. And I would have to say, I really don't feel that I've made any mistakes because I don't look at mistakes as mistakes. I look at them as learning experiences. Um,
So, what's the biggest
be,
learning experience you had so
okay,
far?
so I would have to say the biggest learning experience I've had so far, I would have to
Wait,
say that
can I answer for you?
yeah, because it's so much like it's been a roller coaster year, like just starting a business in general. Um, but the biggest learning experience that I've had is this is the one. A lot of times when I want something and I see my vision, I need it right now. Now, like I need the best. When I started Herbs in Harlem and I knew my vision, my first set of jars were not what I wanted. They were cheaper for me, but I was like, this is not it. This is not what I want. And so a lot of times I can move too fast. And patience is a really big thing when it comes to like starting your business, knowing when to make certain moves and not just make them too fast. Um, so I have to constantly tell myself, like, slow down. Like
Yeah.
it's gonna come to you. You don't need it right now. It's gonna get there. So I would have to say that's been the biggest learning experience for me. It's just like slowing down, basking in the moment that we've done almost 13K now in revenue, and like let's celebrate that. A
Yeah.
lot of times I don't celebrate and I'm like, I need to, like, we gotta keep going. But just like learning to celebrate.
Yes, yes. That's a hard thing I had to learn too, honestly. And, the saying is true, like slow and steady wins the race. And
Yes.
this year, more than ever, I've slowed down in everything I've been doing. Well, I kind of had to a little bit because I am pregnant again.
Yay! Oh my
Yes.
gosh!
Are you gonna get
Congratulations!
pregnant with me again this time? The last two babies
Yegi,
we
I
were
know
together.
we were. I don't know, Yegi. This time I'm dodging the pregnancy air right now.
Yeah,
That's so
but
exciting.
slow and steady wins the race. And honestly, as I slow down too, I've learned how important it is. Like, I just feel more centered and grounded. And although,
Yes.
the revenue part of business does like sometimes take a toll on it, but your inner peace and your kind of enjoying the process part of it is way worth it. And in the
Yes.
long run, I do really think that the revenue or the income part of it catches up to it. If we burn ourselves too much from the beginning, we will
Yep.
not win the race. And all of our goals should be win the race at the end.
Yes.
Don't like win for a little bit and then crash.
Yes.
Awesome. So another fun question, because we've grown since we've talked last time, and I know you're a person who's always growing as a person and as an entrepreneur too. So a fun question I love to ask now, and I don't think I've actually asked you the first time we were chatting, is what does a happy and fulfilling life look like to you right now?
Wow, Yegi.
A deep question,
That's a
even deep
that's
a
a
bit
good one.
hard.
Wow. Wow, we're going deep.
You can take a moment to think.
I would have to say, because when I was younger, I feel like when I turned 30 a couple months ago, like life is so different. And so when I was in my 20s, to me, I thought like happiness was like having a lot of money, being able to afford whatever Fashion Nova outfit I wanted. And now fulfillment and abundance to me looks like not having to get up out of my bed to make any money, being able to spend more time with my kids, with my husband, being able to explore the world, and honestly, meeting every single person in it. I feel like life is changing, like the views of it is changing for me. Um, the more people I get to know, it's like, wow, being in COVID was a really weird time for me because I am such a people person. And
Same.
during that time, like I didn't talk to many people, and I would like walk past people in the stores, and now I'm just making it a point to get to know people and where they come from and networking with them. Networking can get you so far, like so far. You like the world is so small. And so that's what
You'd be
fulfillment looks like
surprised,
to me
like
now.
the one person you meet, you'd be surprised who they can connect you to or what
Yes,
other relationships that can lead
yes,
to. Honestly, I've been
absolutely.
horrible at networking myself. That's one thing I do want to work on, in the future. But I do know the importance of it. You don't want to, have fake relationships or like force
No,
it, but you do
no.
genuinely want to show interest in people and network and spend the time to stop, like you said, even at a grocery store and be like, hey,
Yes,
I love your outfit. Like, even just a
yes,
simple conversation starter can just give you a new friend or a new network or a
absolutely.
happy thought. So I think
Yes,
I think it's magical that you're focusing on that, and you mentioned that as part of a fulfilling life, because as humans too, we are people. So even
hmm,
if we don't think we are, as human nature, we need people to feel
yes,
something, and
absolutely.
we need them to feel alive. So I think if more
Yes,
of us put in effort, like you said, and we would realize that gives us so much fulfillment. So thank you for sharing
yes.
that. I haven't heard
You're
that like part of the
welcome.
answer for a while. Yeah. All right, so I want to pick your brain a little bit more. I know you
hmm.
always love doing a lot, and you said something kind of changed in you since you've been 30. But I feel like just the age alone doesn't really change our mentality. Has there been anything else that you've been working on as far as personal development to grow as a human and as an entrepreneur as well?
Yes. Right now, I'm actually going, while all of this is going great in business, I'm actually going through a huge change in motherhood. My son was recently diagnosed with epilepsy. And
Okay.
so there's been a lot of changes in my household. Um, we are currently on the road to completely change our eating habits. Um,
Mm,
and really making it a good environment for my son, cutting down on TV time. And it's hard. Like, I'm a
it
mom
is.
who also runs two businesses, so I do rely on, educational shows. And so knowing that I have to cut down TV time and allow myself to have more outside time, um, that's a huge change for me
It
right now.
is. It really is. It takes a lot of time and effort to do that. You can't
Hmm.
multitask when you're outside. You have to 100% be there. I mean, it's a positive thing,
Absolutely.
but it's hard. I can only
Yes.
imagine.
Yes, especially, my son loves cookies, and knowing that I have to like take that out of his diet. And so it's a huge change. I did spend my little moment with my little ugly cry because you never want those things for your child. Um, but I feel like I always look at everything as there's a reason for all of this, right? And
Hmm.
even though he has epilepsy and we have to change our eating habits, it's for the best. because it's
Exactly.
always good
It could
to
be
be
a blessing in
healthy.
disguise. It could be a blessing in
Absolutely.
disguise to have help the health of your whole family, from
Hmm.
starting with that, and then you have no idea how much like positive change it could have in the long run. Honestly, I've been
Absolutely.
studying that a lot with diet. Like it's replacing, like, just for us balancing our system with food,
Yes.
diet, meditation. It can literally
Yes.
avoid so many health issues down the line
Hmm.
in our mental, physical, everything. So I think
Yes.
I would like I praise you for making those changes. I know it's so hard, but
Thank
and I
you.
love the way you look at it. But that's how I love to look at things too, the challenges too, and all the, like, sometimes horrible things, news that we
Yes.
get. If we look at it as a blessing in disguise, something good
Yes.
comes out of it. So,
That is
so
so true. And Yegi, I've had so many things happen. Like I know a lot of people that follow me on social media, they know that, I lost two babies before I had my two babies. And so I don't think anything worse can happen to me than that. And so now when things do what would be considered bad happen to me, I look at it like, okay, what is the learning experience from this? Or what is the bigger picture? Because
mhm.
yeah, we have to change our diet, but like now we're healthy. Now we're vibrant. Now I have more energy to be able to have that discipline. So
Yeah.
it's yeah.
It's a work in progress, honestly. Like, I've been making some changes in my family life too, mainly to also
Mhm.
prepare with another baby coming, just making sure
Yes,
our schedules are more aligned. It's like more managed. The
yes,
processes are smoother. And it's hard. Like, it's easy in theory, but
mhm,
it's really hard. Even implementing like a simple change, like
yes,
a quick morning routine.
yes,
Like, now we're just gonna wake up and we're gonna change our clothes. We're not gonna spend one
yes,
hour messing around and then change, like, we're gonna be more efficient
yes.
kids. It's hard. So I give you lots of credit, and I send
Thank
you lots of
you,
prayers and
thank you.
patience, and like to get through, this major thing. But I know
Thank
you're gonna
you.
be strong, and you're gonna come out bigger, better, stronger with your whole family. So thank you
Absolutely.
for sharing that, because a lot of times we don't talk about all the craziness that goes on in our personal life.
No.
It's so fun to talk about all the successes in our business, in our, like,
Yep.
places we go, like the cute outfits we wear. It's easy to share that. And
Absolutely. Yes.
and I admire you so much for sharing all the uglies in life, even on social media. I think it helps people feel human, because we all have it. Like,
Absolutely.
there's no one person who doesn't have craziness. But the really, like, key
No.
is to work through it while enjoying everything else, not only focus
Yes.
on, let's say, one negative thing that's going on in our life.
Absolutely. And
Yeah,
I
we
think
got
that's
kind
the
of deep.
biggest. No, I knew once you asked that we were gonna go deep. And I think I thank you. I love that because a lot of times it's really scary to put that out there or to tell people like, "Hey, I'm going through this." Um but I think the beauty out of that is when I am super transparent and I'm like, "Hey, all of this great things are happening in my life, but like I'm going through this as a mother." I can still connect with people, and I have people message me like, "Hey, I saw that you posted this. Can you tag me in that because I need some information for my baby?"
Aw.
And so it just knowing that I'm being transparent is helping someone else. I'm all for that.
I love that. I love that so much. Well, we are running a little short on time, and I would love to keep talking to you. But if you can please share more of where people can find you, personal, business, to really connect with you, and try to build a relationship with you, because I know you're so awesome. And and also your last words of wisdom, and we'll close with that.
Okay, well, you can find me on Instagram. I'm on Instagram and Facebook as Ryah J. And you can also follow Herbs in Harlem at Herbs in Harlem on Instagram. You can check out our website at www.herbsinharlem.com. And for you that are local in Kansas City, you can find us at Shop Local KC in the Crown Center location.
Love that. And we'll link all of that below. So whoever's interested, they can find you easily. And your
Perfect.
last words of wisdom before we say goodbye.
My last words of wisdom would be to always be true to yourself. Always love yourself no matter what season you're going through in this life. It will always get better. I also want to say that remember, discipline will bring success. It doesn't have to mean money, but it can mean in other things. And to never give up. Never give
Yeah,
up. You can have
yeah.
whatever you want in this
Gave
life.
us
You
quite
really
a few.
can.
I love it. Thank you so much. And honestly, for our listeners who want to be more disciplined, but sometimes it's really hard to be disciplined, there was one
Mhm.
book I had read that helped me with discipline, and it was a book called No Excuses. And I say that
Mm.
I give people that book quite a few times because I think you can grow a lot from it. So check it out if you want to
Yes.
be more disciplined and you need some tools to get there. But anyways,
Mhm.
again, thank you so much for your time, Ryah,
Thank
for
you.
spending an hour with us, connecting, sharing, and updating us with all the awesome things that has been going on. And I know you'll be inspiring so many listeners. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in, supporting our community. And I look forward until we talk next time.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. Please rate and review this podcast. Follow and engage with us on social media under the Yegi Project. And if you're interested in being a guest, email info@theyegiproject.com. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes.